Hey, welcome back to JG3 Reviews. Today it is another ink test. This time it is Diamine Majestic Blue, quickly becoming one of my favorite daily use blues. You know that I took this on a trip to Cambodia in my TWSBI Swipe as a cartridge ink. And now I want to share with you the bottled version because when I got back, I bought me a bottle. So what is it that I like so much about this ink that I came back and bought a bottle? Well, it is a fantastic Sheening blue ink. And I like inks with shading, but I also like inks that sheen. So this provides some nice writing variation. Here it is, the Diamine Majestic Blue with the TWSBI Swipe with a medium nib. And you can see both shading and color variation that comes through from the sheen, and I'll give you a close-up of that here in just a second. And then my broad-tipped glass dip pen, which of course is much wetter, although this not exactly a dry pen, and this is written with the TWSBI Swipe. And you can see the wetness variation that was there, and the better wetness from a sheening ink, the better the sheen. So we'll look at those comparisons here in just a second. First, let's do an ink swatch. Get a little bit of the inky fingers going. It goes on before it dries in this just absolutely beautiful blue. Might remind you of Noodler's Liberty's Elysium or Bay State Blue at first. And I'll go back over it here with a second pass so that you can see. And of course, it's going to sheen better on that second pass. And while we're waiting on that to dry and to sheen up, let's do the dry test. Here I'll be using again the TWSBI Swipe with a medium nib. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. 15 seconds. 30 seconds. And I'm going to say, because of that result at 30 seconds, I'm not even going to bother with the 60-second test. All right, now you can kind of see, I hope, that there is a nice amount of sheening. I don't know that Rhodia is the best sheening paper for this ink, but you can kind of see that. And of course, the more time you give it, the more you'll have. You can see some here in that 15-second test. At least I can on this side of the camera. This is a composition notebook made in Vietnam from an office supply store, and it actually does portray some of that sheening, and the ink performs very nicely. No bleed-through problems at all. Here on the Ayush paper, that sheening also comes through, and hopefully that's coming through on camera. And then perhaps the best to illustrate it is here on Tomoe River paper. You can really see it on that ink swatch. But in person, you can see it in all of the writing that I've shown you. And then particularly here, you can tell where that dip pen was nice and wet right out of the bottle. And of course, as it runs out, you lose a little bit of the sheen, and instead that really vibrant blue comes through. But the ink performs quite well. Just find a paper that gives the sheen that you want, and it will perform. Not only that, but no bleed-through issues. This is on Rhodia, but there wasn't any on that Vietnamese paper either. Now let's do the water fastness test. And I really have no idea, after traveling with it in a wet and rainy country and everything else, I might still not have a clue. I think we're getting a clue pretty fast though, aren't we? All right, let's dab that clean. Well, that's a mess. I mean, you can kind of see some of what I might have written. You may be able to make out what you wrote, but my advice would be never sign the deed to your house in Diamine Majestic Blue. Wonderful ink, beautiful color, but water fastness, not its strength. And of course, some of you want to see the chromatography of this ink, and even though it's all blue, I think that's a beautiful chromatography. Interesting. So this is where I drew the original line, and this, it's almost like a painting. And you have here what looks like the horizon of the ocean, and then it whitens up, lightens up, and then just keeps getting darker and darker. You know, a really nice sky blue in the middle, and then the firmament above. I mean, it really is a cool looking ink. Majestic Blue seems maybe like the right name for this one. All right, so what's my recommendation on this ink? Get your hands on it. I love it, and maybe even get it on your hands. That's just the way it is. This is just such a nice, vibrant ink with some great characteristics. I hope the sheening comes through on camera because it really is really, really good. And it's typical Diamine. It's a well-behaved ink. It does great. Not a lot of water fastness, and I would call it not at all. Just be careful where you use it, but beautiful ink. All right, God bless you. Have a great ink.